as I know.
Daya, did you park behind my car? Can you park behind my truck? Because you have a smaller truck. Yeah, because parking is going to be a problem. And your car fits perfectly behind. Will it or not? Oh, never mind. I imagine your little tiny white thingy. Never mind. 5 versions of these mantras. Om Mangalam Gurudevaya Devye Matriksha Mangalam Mangalam Bhakta Brindebhyo Sarva Lokaya Mangalam Om Stapakaya Chadarmasya Sarva Dharma Surupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishnaya Mangalam Om Sarashiva Samarambam Shankarachara Madhyamam Ashmarachara Prayantam Vande Gurum Paramparam Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwara Gurureva Param Brahman Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Sri Hari. Jai Ma. So we'll pick up where we left off last week. And we're talking about this is our series of talks on the introduction to Kali Puja. I don't know what number we're on, probably like 16 or something, or 17, I'm not sure. I didn't pay notice. So last week we finished the last couple of meetings. We finished the worship of Sri Ramakrishna, the worship of Holy Mother Sharada Devi, and the worship of Swami Vivekananda. And of course, they're part of our tradition and the Dakshineshwar tradition, the Ramakrishna tradition, where Thakur, Ma, and Swamiji are always worshipped along with the Divine Mother. And we also talked a little bit about the importance of worshipping them in connection to Divine Mother. We'll probably continue that as the next couple of weeks go on. But finally, after so many meetings, we finally have gotten to something that resembles Kali Puja. We've been doing all these purification mantras, purifying the sea, purifying the body, purifying the atmosphere, removing of ghosts, purifying the alphabet, purifying the body, Nyāsas and all these wonderful things. And then worship of directional deities, worship of deities of the door, worship of deities of the seat, worshipping the deities on the shrine, worshipping all these collection of the Panchadevatas. We talked a lot about the importance of these 5. So finally now, in our puja book, it's labeled Kali Puja officially. So, and so it starts with Antar Pitha-Nyasa. So Pitha-Nyasa is, Pitam means, anybody know what Pitam? Like Shahum? Place is a very good description. I'm not sure. I cannot guarantee, but I even think a word like pit may come from it. You know, if you trust the sound. I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not exactly sure, but it's like a place where something is. Something like that, in a certain sense, something like that. But because I always, maybe this is the way I remembered when I first learned. Oh, that reminds me of another word that is like a place where something is, you know. And pitam, seat is a good. And so the famous thing you've heard of the Shakti Pitams. This is where Mother Parvati, when Mother Sati gave up her body in the Daksha's Yajna. It says that Shiva was dancing around in grief with her lifeless body. And when Shiva dances creation, but when Shiva dances, the world is destroyed. And it was being destroyed prematurely. And so it said Vishnu came with his chakra, his Sudarshan chakra, and began to chop up her body into smaller pieces. And as it chopped off a piece, it chopped off a finger and it fell. And chopped the next finger and it fell. Chopped off a wrist and it fell. And where it fell to earth, that place became a Shakti Pitam, a place where Shakti is. And so those places, another term we use is like Swayambhu. There's like a self-manifested holy place. We would find, you find a holy thing. Oh, this is a beautiful place. Has auspicious signs. And we do, and then you have an image made, and you do consecration rituals and purification, which is to, like we did here, to establish this place as a place of Shakti worship. But these Shakti Pitams, the place was chosen not by human choice. They were discovered. Oh, these are where the body parts of the Divine Mother fell. Now it's interesting. I remember I took a class many years ago at UC Berkeley on geography of religion, the geography of religion. Unfortunately, it conflicted with other classes, so I couldn't keep the class. I took a few. I wanted to at least sit in a few. I don't remember the professor, a very famous professor. Old age is hitting, forgetting these important people. But I remember one of the points he brought up in the very first lecture, the Shakti Pitams, as an example of geography and religion, where he says that the mythological realm, right, is grafted onto the physical space through and Shakti Pitam is a perfect example. We have this ancient story that's metaphysical story. Can't just say mythological. It's like beyond. It's not a historical in a normal sense. It's a metaphysical story about incorporeal realities. Told in a mystical language. But yet you can go to Calcutta and go to a place. Well, this is where her finger fell. Or you can go to the Himalayas, and this is where I've been to a place where her nose ring fell, right? Where one of her toes fell, And so there's a couple lists. There's several lists. Normally we think of there's a common list of 50 Shakti Pitams, right? That's the most common list. 50, 54, usually 50. But the Devi Bhagavatam lists those 50 in the Devi Gita, but also lists. Right? You have the Devi Gita. Did you get that? Somebody in our group just recently got Devi Gita, which I love. And but where the Devi Gita usually starts, it starts the chapter after the Shakti Pitam discussion. The previous page is the final list, and it lists 100 also. So it's like we have the normal list, but then there's a great question when the gods get the darshan of Devi in the Devi Gita. They ask her, what is your place and what is your time? Where do you exist and when should we worship? And one of my favorite lines I quote all the time, this is, all times are my times and all places are my places. Right? So every place is her place. Every time is her time. But since you asked, there are auspicious times and especially powerful places. And then she mentions the Shakti Pitams, right, as an examples. And auspicious times is Amavasya, Purnama, and Ekadasi, and Navaratri, and Shivaratri, and it gets, all the important days that are by time and place. But these Shakti Pitams, since ancient times, this was considered like a place where the Divine Mother dwells. And so Pitam is this place, so we have these ancient sites that are Shakti Pitams. But like a Kali Mandir, we always joke that we're going to advertise one drop of nectar during the churning of the ocean, or during the fight of the was Parvati or something, fell to Laguna Beach, and we recently discovered it. It fell, so this is and actually there's some places like Adya Pit this is really a Shakti Pitam. It's not on anybody's list. Some mystics said, they discovered some part of Ma fell here, right, or like this, and if we say such a thing, maybe it's true. Maybe this place we found this place because she was here in a special place, in a special way, is waiting to be uncovered and be worshipped here in the canyon. I can feel that. I can see that's a reasonable thing. But whatever it is, she's here. How do we installed her here, right? We've created an altar, a vessel, right? A seat for her, an asan, Shinghasan, the lion throne, right? And so, but what is that even like? Shakti, Maha Shakti, Pada Shakti, Supreme God, Supreme Power of everything. It's everywhere, and yet you're going to establish her in one particular place completely. This is the idea, right? So this is a very beautiful shrine. The wood part, the black wood part, was made by Swami Bhajanananda in Trabuco Monastery many years ago. He's now in Washington. So that's made by Holy Man. The white part was the personal shrine of Bhattahari Das Prabhu and Kosharupa. They're the very saintly people. And so, but it's made of wood. The bottom part, I think, is probably particle board. I think the top part is painted wood. And very beautiful. But it's made from stuff from Home Depot. Moldings and things like that. How beautiful they did it. But if you look at it, it's actually all little things you can buy now at Home Depot. Just so artistically done. And then Ma's there, and of course the image was hand carved by an expert sculptor. Right. But is that sufficient? Is a wood from Home Depot sufficient to hold the Parashakti, the supreme power, supreme consciousness of the universe, right? So that's the seat, right? But it can't just be that, right? What is it that we worship as a shrine, as a deity, as the asan, as a holy place, as a tirtha, as a temple? So here it starts, Antar Pitha-Nyasa. Nyasa means to consecrate. We've talked about Nyasa before, and we're consecrating the fingers, consecrating the body parts. It's the alphabet. Remember, we had several meetings on Nyasa. So this is the consecration of the altar or the seat. But it starts with Antar Pitha-Nyasa. Antar means inside. So and then after this, there'll be the next section will be Bahir Pitha-Nyasa. There's the inner altar has to be consecrated, and then the outer altar has to be consecrated, right? So don't start. Okay, we polish, we clean, we sprinkle, decorate, everything like that. But actually, in puja, it starts. The heart is the ultimate throne. We enthrone. Visualizing, we visualize it in our. We say in our heart. We do this like this is our heart or something. Our heart's, I don't know. This big muscle pumping, pumping blood throughout the body. So that big muscle pumping blood throughout the body, is that really the real seat of Parashakti? It seems unlikely, right? So that heart is something, but that's not what we mean by heart. When we say, the heart of something is the center of something. And so often we do like our heart is here, right? And why do we do that? Because this is kind of like, seems to be our emotional center, right? Kind of the center of our being, right? But actually, if you think like neurologically, our heart's up here somewhere, right? The center of our center of our awareness is some magic that happens, dancing the dance inside the brain. It seems, right? But yet and actually, you'll see Swami Chaitanya when he gives a talk. He says one must purify one's actions, right? One's actions, one's speech, and one's mind. Interesting. He always puts the mind. We say mind is here because we have a Western view of the brain, as the mind is some kind of other part of the brain, some byproduct of the brain. But very often Indians will say the mind. They point to it's like the center of their identity, of their conscious being, right? So we do it emotionally, with our emotional heart and our intellectual. We're a little bit separated and bifurcated, of course, right? So the heart is not just the stomach, the muscle, the blood pumping organ. It's the very center of our being. And so like in in yoga and tantra we have a chakra there, right, which is called Anahata chakra, right? That's also significant when we go into that. So that's not over here; it's in the center, right? And visualize in the center, and of course we visualize it as like a 12-petal lotus, right? But Swami Shivananda said that if you operate. People have operated on all the organs, the spine, and dug in like that, and they don't find any 12-petaled anything in there, right? There's something to it. There's a cluster of nerves that and actually in the tradition of the kind of subtle anatomy of there's a correspondence, right? There's clusters. Our bodies are arranged, we believe, yogis believe, around our astral body. So that's why we have our heart there, why we have clusters of nerves and different plexus like that, and the organs that are associated with them. But by the heart we don't mean the physical heart, and by the Anahata chakra we don't mean an actual lotus, energetic or otherwise, in somewhere in the spine or near the spine. But you can see it's here or it's back there somewhere, So that's when we visualize the deity. When you do dhyanam of the deity, usually they meditate upon the deity in the heart, in the chest, right? But it's also not Anahata chakra. That's actually not the real heart, right? So maybe you've seen, sometimes we do argya. We talked in the beginning, there's in the conch and in the kushikushi, and there's a special offering at the beginning of puja. One takes a flower, and then inside that flower you take another flower and you put it. And you put some leaves and some rice and some sandalwood paste. There's all kinds of things. But one of the things that is like a flower nestled within a flower. It's actually very cool looking. If you look at it, you're like, wow, that looks tantric somehow. It's like a cool tantric thing, Because it is actually a cool tantric thing. It's a flower nestled within another flower, right? And that actually has a big meaning, because within the Anahata chakra, there is another chakra, right? I'm forgetting the name of it, right? Maybe it's called Hari chakra or something. Maybe the heart chakra or something. Maybe Hridoya chakra, perhaps, yeah, right. I'll have to think of this soon. Think of our class on this topic, I'll remember it by then, look at my notes. So there's another chakra, within this 12-petal chakra, there is a 8-petal chakra, right? And so the heart is usually, you see a yantra, usually you'll see the central, like in the Sri chakra, the first there is a 8-petal chakra. That's that chakra, right? So that's not the Anahata chakra. That's the chakra. And we have a 1,000-petal chakra we visualize on the top of the head or as the head. But then you visualize the guru on the top of the head, sitting on a 6-petal chakra, right? So it's another petals, flower within flowers within flowers, So the chakra that we visualize the deity in is not actually Anahata chakra. It's the heart chakra, not the air chakra, the Vayu Tattva chakra or something like that. It's a different thing. They're related, but not the same. So we'll get to those mantras actually. So when we consecrate the inner altar, of course, we're concentrating in our body. We're thinking in the Hridoya chakra or the Anahata chakra, in the heart center, in the center of the body, the core of our being. In the beautiful verse in the Lita Sahasranama, it's always very impressive. You quickly chant the verse from memory. People think, oh, well, he knows. I only know the first verse, but so it's not as impressive when I start thinking about it. I used to know the second verse. Srimata Simaharajini, right? The first one is the divine, that who we worship, the auspicious divine mother, Srimata Simaharajini, who is the empress, the great empress, the great queen of queens, right? Where? Simat Simhasaneshwari. She sits on the lion throne. Singhasana means throne, but also means lion throne. You can see Ma sits on a lion. Right, ancient goddesses throughout Mesopotamia and India, they all sit on lion throne, flanked by lions. It's a very common thing, right? So Singhasana is a lion throne. That divine mother, who's not just our beautiful, auspicious mother, she's also the queen of every universe, the queen of queens, the empress of the universe. And where does she sit? On a throne. Where? Chidagnikunda Sambuta, in the fire pit of consciousness. Right, so she sits in the very center, the very base of our consciousness, right? And we visualize usually in the heart. If you go, that mantra is getting into more tantric interpretation. So actually, the fire pit of consciousness is a reference, some people think, to the pit of Kundalini, right? Chit Agni Kund, the fire pit, We get to one of the Kundalini has several meanings, but one of which is the that which exists in the pit, right? And in the pit of awareness. So using a different map, we think of her at the very base of our being. Using this more devotional map, we think of her in the center of our being, right? The center of our consciousness, as a source of our consciousness. Usually we think, oh, this is me. We don't think like this is me, the base of our base. It's a different energetic conception, right? So Chit Agnikunda Sambhuta, what's the next verse? Devakarya Samudita. So in there, what does she do there? This divine mother who's the queen empress of the universe, who sits on a lion throne in the fire pit of consciousness, she does good to the gods. She's doing divine bless. She's doing the work of the gods. And this is a reference from the Brahmana Purana, the story of Lalita, where she actually comes out of a fire pit and does some divine work. It's hers. And the first mantra is the source of the image of Tripura Sundari, Lalita Tripura Sundari. But it's related. I mean, that mantra is going to be. I can think of this mantra all the time. I think it's like foundational mantra. It's name one. It starts with the very first verse, 111, you could say, in the 1,000 names of the Divine Mother. So she's in the fire pit of consciousness, or in the very center of our being, in our heart, right? And so we worship her there and awaken her there and visualize her there, right? Then, so what we do in puja, first we consecrate her shrine, right, and worship her and visualize her abode, and then once you create her stage, her throne, her temple, right, then she's invoked by mantra and by visualization. Remember we do this dhyan, kurma mudra, we meditate upon her, and then we internally we've discovered, or trying to discover her seat, which is deep within our body, deep within our consciousness, the very center of our being. Then we visualize her sitting there or standing there, and then we do puja. We worship her. That's called Manasa Puja. We'll get to that in the next couple of weeks probably. So all the things we see us do externally, we do internally, mentally, Manasa Puja. And there's many types of Manasa Puja. We do a very offering the items of puja are the very items of creation of our being we offer, the tattvas and things like that, very deep. But some of them we do it mentally, as if we worship her deep within mentally, with mental offerings. This is the flowers made of, the mantra says flowers made of bhava, out of mood and emotion and sentiment, right? Essential natures, it's like bhava has so many meanings, right? Right. Then, once we've consecrated her shrine, seen her there, seated there, and then worshipped her there. So that's fine. That's puja. That's awesome, right? So that's a very high state of meditation, right? But if we simply do that, maybe the pujari is feeling something, should feel something. But we also notice it actually still works. If the pujari feels it, everybody else feels it too. Whenever, wow, that was incredible puja. It's always people say, oh, this went well. If it doesn't go well, it's interesting. Nobody else knows what you're doing. You're sitting there. This is the part that nobody sees, right? If it goes well, everybody feels it. So there seems to be a real correspondence, but still, people wouldn't keep coming if you simply watching the pujari meditate. right? And also the pujari, there's something about it, and puja is not just meditation. Meditation is part of puja, right? So it's not only satisfying for others, but it's not satisfying the pujari. I mean, you don't have to have a temple to meditate. You can meditate anywhere, right? So what is it? So what a temple is that which is everywhere, that which is the center of creation, the center of our being, center at the base of Kundalini, right? The very essence of the center of our consciousness itself, is also right here on the shrine in front of you, ready to, and she's going to sit there and she's going to take your offerings. Right? She's agreed to it. Right? This is the way it works, right? You invite her there because what you've done inside, you want to do outside also. Right? It's not good enough just to do it inside. Right? And I have to use this language, of course. So you say, oh, the inside is more important. But I'm not sure if it's more important. That's just perhaps that's a prejudice of yogis. We've tended to think, oh, it's all inside, it's all within, God's within. That's true. Like Guruji say, if you don't find God within, you won't find him anywhere. but it didn't mean you shouldn't find him anywhere. You shouldn't just find him within. It's like you won't find him without if you don't find him within, right? But that structure means if you want to find him without, you have to find him within, right? It's a stage to seeing God with open eyes. And Swami Chaitanya's new book is seeing God with open eyes. That's a great title of a book, right? Just came out today, actually, new book released today or yesterday, I think. Yesterday. So we're very excited about it. Meditations on Sri Ramakrishna, seeing God with open eyes. So there's a line in the Tripura Rahasya, I'm just remembering, right? A great mystical book where I'm getting the characters. There's a husband and wife where the wife is a rishi. That's, yeah. Who's the wife? The husband is Himachandra. Yeah. You know the story, but this is a favorite book of Ramana Maharishi, a very non-dualistic tantric text. This is the philosophical part of the tantric text. But there's a scene where she's instructing the husband, who's her disciple. The wife of the queen is the guru, and the husband, the king, is the disciple. And he realizes he has very high states of meditation. When you're thinking, oh, I've accomplished, I found the source of awareness and consciousness and beauty, Tripura, called there, right, within my own awareness, within my own being. And then she says, yeah, but actually I don't think your realization is very deep at all. This is why I said, because because your realization is as thin as your eyelids are. Because when your eyelids are closed, then you can see it. When your eyelids are open, it disappears. What type of realization is dependent on a tiny little bit of skin like that, and whether you have open eyes or closed eyes. So then she begins to give instruction how to see God with open eyes, right? Now, of course, we're only seeing God with open eyes, actually, right? But we have to get there in a certain sense. So until we can see, first we find God within, ideally, but then we have to see God outside. How do we see God outside? Of course, we've seen only God, but we don't see God. That's the problem, right? And so people say, oh, here's God. People see here and they don't see God either. It's just, I don't know, what am I looking at? I think people are like, oh, this is our temple. This is what? Like, really? Look, see the one sticking her tongue at you? Waving a sword at you? They don't even see her, But people see her, so what does this mean? What is her symbolism? They're not seeing God with open eyes either, right? In a temple, externally, we make the unseen obvious. We place where we can see God. And so we want to have the experience of God outside also. We want to have a relationship with God also. And the reason I said it's a bit of a prejudice that we have the yogis have won on this. They won the narrative. They've controlled the narrative. Because we have to think, why is there a world to begin with? Right? This is a very tantric question, right? Why is there a manifestation to begin with? Why is there seemingly duality and multiplicity? Maybe not at the ultimate level, ontologically, I don't know, right? But maybe because the ultimate wanted it this way, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be this way, So there's a reason for variety, right? And we can give. There's some very sublime descriptions of it. We don't have to go. That's a different series of talks, But there's so God wants a relationship also. And even if it's only her, even if there's only one, we can say Tantra, ultimately, most schools of Tantra, our school of Tantra is actually quite fiercely non-dualistic, right? But it admits the one, here it is. It's created, or it's manifested, created, seems to be, however language you want to do, many, right? So there must be a reason for this, right? And so simply deny it, the reason is because it shouldn't be, and it's wrong. Right, that doesn't seem to be a reasonable reason. You know what I mean? It's not reasonable, right? So we find the one being within, but she wants, we believe, and the devotional schools say, right? She wants to enjoy she wants to have relationship, although it's only one. So what did you do? You have the awareness. Okay, look at the nice definition of God or the Supreme or Brahman. It's pure awareness. Awareness means aware of something. If you're not aware of something, there's no awareness, right? So to have awareness, you need to be aware of something. To be consciousness, you need to be conscious. You need to be conscious of something. But if there's only consciousness, then the thing you're conscious of is only another aspect of consciousness. You create some sense of duality, some sense of difference, a sense of what in Tantra we call Prakash and Vimarsha, the light of awareness and the reflected awareness, right? And so we have the symbol of Shiva and Shakti. This is like the classic symbol of Shiva looking at himself in the mirror. What does he see? He sees Devi, right? And Devi, and so Devi's only his reflection, right? And so we say, oh, the image in the mirror is separate from the one looking, right? So we say, oh, that's material. It's separate. It's not consciousness. It's something. It's an object of consciousness, right? But if you look at yourself. I mean, this is a nice trick to do. Stare. I don't know if my spiritual life started with staring up my eyes in the mirror when I was in high school. It's actually it's quite disturbing, because the whole thing falls apart really quick. Right? It's like, what are you looking at? Right? You're looking at the looker. Right, but it's not the looker; it's a reflection of the looker. But there's no difference between the reflection of the looker and the one look. You get into the little like whoa, I think I may have like something kind of mystical. It begins the whole thing, right? But I believe that's the core thing. You can see what's Shiva is just looking up at Devi, and Devi, Radha and Krishna looking at each other. Shiva and Parvati are looking at each other. Right? Of course, when we carve them in temples, we make them look at us. Right, but actually that's correct. We're also the reflection, right? We're Prakriti, or we're Purusha, and she's Prakriti, or she's Purusha, and we're Prakriti, however you want to see it, right? So find her with it. So the point is that to worship, to see God, and worship God on the external, the Bahir Pitam, right, is not a step down, right? This is the worship. That's why it's not. You don't do that first, because usually we think, oh, first you go through image worship to get to pure meditation, or visualization, or some other more refined thing. But that may be true, and there's a stage of the meditation. There's verses described. Even Sri Ramakrishna made such statements sometime. Quoted that famous verse that the one level of one type of worship is external, then higher than that is through an image. Higher than that is lower than that is mantra. Lower than the highest thing is pure meditation. That's one way of looking at it, but that's not the structure of puja. Puja starts, the stage to external worship is internal worship. It's not internal worship, external worship leading to internal worship, right? It's not the prejudice. It's a different thing. So internal worship, the whole meditation, is so that you can worship externally, that you can see, who you're looking at, what you're doing, right? And actually, I remember many years ago when we first started studying this, Gita, who's not here today, but she says actually she wrote a little article, I think one of our early brochures for Big Puja or something, or our handouts, and it said that actually during Bhuta Shuti, we just talked Bhuta Shuti a few months ago, right? You should be enlightened. I mean, you've transcended time and space. You've gone beyond a thing. Your Kundalini is fully awakened. You're completely merged. And you're completely enlightened. But then there's alom, way up, and then there's bilom, you come back down, right? And so puja starts after enlightenment, actually, after union, but now you know what you're doing. You know what you're seeing, right? It was fresh, And we talked about Bhuta Shuti, when the Kundalini comes up, or we visualize like that, when it comes back down, it brings Amrita down and feeds everything. It purifies this temple, the temple within our mind and heart, right? The external temple. So Pitha-Nyasa, this is my introduction to Pitha-Nyasa. Antar Pitha-Nyasa. So in the short puja, I don't think in the small puja book it's there, right? Which is probably a mistake. Right, but a simple thing is that there's a mudra, a mrig mudra. Mrig means deer. This is like a deer, right? If you do it now. This is mrig mudra. So mrig mudra is the mudra used, and one touches the heart, right? And mrig mudra, we've talked about this a little bit. I think some other mudras maybe. Mrig. In the symbolism of mudras, the mrig, the mind is compared to a deer, because you've seen deers, they're jittery and moving, and it's like easily skittish and run away and not be concentration. So they're perfect. Our mind's like that too, constantly moving and flitting, flitzy, right? That's the word, flitzy, right? But Shiva is said to hold. That's right. We talked about it in the Shiva Dhyan mantra, in the mantra of Shiva, that he holds his hand in mrig mudra. So some has him like this, right? Sometimes it has him holding a deer. It's literally, I mean, not just holding his hand in the form of a deer. He's holding a deer in his hand. Some images have that. You'll see paintings and images where he's holding a deer. It means he's holding the mind still. It's a symbol. His meditating form is a symbol of meditation, right? So of the stilled mind. So Mirig Mudra is a way of keeping the mind still. What's the focus of the mind? The mind's here, which is externally showing the center of the body, but that means the center of our being, the spiritual heart. And with the mantra, usually we use Hrim. Hrim is the Shakti mantra, because she's was one being invoked. Om Hrim Pitta Devata Bhyo Namaha. We worship the deities. Bhyo means more than one, right? It's plural. The various deities of the altar. And then Om Hrim Pitta Shakti Bhyo Namaha. We worship the Shaktis of the altar. That's a simple form. Hrim Pitta Devata Bhyo Namaha. Hrim Pitta Shakti Bhyo Namaha. That's a simple form of it, right? That covers everything. This is so you could say the Pitta Devata and Pitta Shakti means all the gods and all the goddesses, the Devatas and the Shaktis and their Shaktis. So it could be, Brahma and Brahmi. It could be Vishnu and Lakshmi. I mean, it can be those, or it could be all these divine energy, all the deities, but and their Shaktis perhaps, or their Shakti. It's not just like their consorts, not the Mr. and Mrs. Gods. It's all the divine deities and personalities and aspects of the spiritual heart, which we can also name, and their the real power behind them, the divine power behind them. Hrim Pitta Devata Bhyo, Hrim Pitta Shakti Bhyo Namaha. That's easy. All that to say Pitta Devata Bhyo Namaha. In more elaborate pujas, we do it during Durga Puja and during Amavasya. There's another series of mantras, and where who are those? It says Bhyo, more than one. So that means there's not just one deity in the heart. There's all kinds of deities in the heart, right? Personalities and their Shaktis or different Shaktis. So sometimes you can name them. And in the Sri Chakra Puja we do once a year, a lot of them are named. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds are described, right? But so I want to give a simple example of some of them from the Durga Puja, and the list for Durga Puja and the list for Kali Puja are slightly different. The Ramakrishna Puja follows the Durga Puja standard list, right? But for Kali worship, there's a specified list, because we don't just meditate on her like on a golden throne on an island of jewels. She's also surrounded by howling jackals and rotting corpses, and it's a little bit different, right? So her iconography the bhava is different, right? But Om Hrim Pitta Devata, I'll just show to give an example of it. Hrim Pitta Devata Bhyo Namaha, Hrim Pitta Shakti Bhyo Namaha. Om Adhara Shaktaye Namaha. Adhara Shaktaye, the power. Now let's start naming some of these powers. Adhara Shakti, the power that sustains, the sustaining power, right? So everything is sustained by, and so we can see, she's the one, Jagadatri, the one who holds up the world, right? Jagadishwari, Jagadatri. But also, one of the things when we think about Tantra and Puja, everything means Kundalini. You can assume everything means Kundalini. So Adhara Shakti is also a name for Kundalini, because the thing that holds up our Muladhara, we are held by Muladhara, and she's underneath Muladhara. She's the power that holds up Muladhara. She's worshipped in the fire pit of consciousness, on top of which our material body, therefore material consciousness, rests. Om Hrim Adhara Shaktaye Namaha. Om Pakritye Namaha. Pakriti itself. So we worship the principle of Pakriti. Om Kurmaya Namaha. Kurma. Kurma is the tortoise, right? So and we see, in case you all know, the world's flat, right? And rests on a turtle, There's special members of our audience for whom that's very special. It's flat and turtle all the way down. And tortoise is all the way down. Right? You wonder what the tortoise sits on? Another tortoise. Right? But so is what the symbol of Korma. Of course, there's an ancient story of the central mountain of the universe when it was being churned by the gods and demons in order to get the Amrita, began to sink, and that central mountain is also given the interpretation of being the spine, the Ida and Pingala, the Kundal, it's pranayama like that, and so the whole thing began to sink in the causal waters, the water of causation, and so Lord Vishnu took on the form of a giant tortoise and held it up. And so it's also a upholding Shakti. Right. Exactly here we have Ma's Vahana. Ma sits on her vehicle. Usually in front of a deity you see Nandi for Shiva, Garuda for Vishnu, like this, right? So Ma has her Shingasana. Her vehicle is a lion. Actually, some forms have her as a lion, some as a tiger, right? So we have, you notice here, it's a striped tiger. Striped lion. It's a liger. So, right. And so Ma drives a hybrid, as we always say. Hybrid. But in front of her, you can't see any like there's a little turtle. Right? Because that's actually, whatever that, and the vehicles of the deity, like Nandi, like that, they're given different meanings. Usually they're different aspects of the mind and consciousness, usually. So the lion is also seen like that. There's the throne of manifested, activated consciousness. But the turtle is what holds everything. It's the Adhara Shakti. So Kurmaya Namaha, Anantaya Namaha. So Ananta, you keep saying who's underneath turtle. It's like there's the 1,000-headed, infinite-headed serpent that holds everything up, right? It's also what covers Vishnu's head or Shiva's head. It's also connected to what Shiva wears, right? It's also a reference to Kundalini and latent power, latent Kundalini. So Ananta Shesha, the Anantaya Namaha. Om Prithvyai Namaha. Prithvyai Namaha. Prithvi means earth, the goddess earth, right? So she's also holding. So we start name. So what are these powers? These in the shrine. We're worshiping all these, enlivening, worshiping, visualizing them, honoring them, awakening them. So the earth deity herself, Shuddham Buddhaye Namaha. This is Shuddha Buddhi. This is very interesting. You have to think. I'm just looking. I don't have translation of these. I'm just working translation. So if I make a mistake, please forgive me. But I think Shuddha Buddhi, the purified mind, the purified intellect. Right, that's really another where what's the altar? It's the purified. So there's another thing. There's a deity when you churn the ocean in the Sri Chakra Puja. When you see our Sri Chakra Puja, the pot that holds the Amrita, it's being held. That pot in the traditional story comes up by Dhanvantari and holds the pot, the god of medicine, right? But the pot itself actually is being held by a goddess called Shuddha Devi, right? The goddess of purity. Only purity can hold this divine nectar, right? So actually we worship in the silver thing that we're worshiping, we actually dress it in a sari and then do a 5-item worship to Shuddha Devi, who's holding the pot of nectar, right? So that we have to have only the purified mind and heart can hold this divine thing. So the mind has to be purified, the heart to be purified. Mani Dvipaya Namaha. Mani Dvipa means the jeweled island. And this is part of the visualization that often happens. We imagined, and when we get to the visual, these are all details of the inner visualization that happens during Manasa Puja, which we'll probably do next week, if we get to it next week. Maybe not. Or in 2 weeks. We'll see. I'm full of hope. But, that we imagine in the heart, right, an infinite ocean of nectar, right, and within that ocean of nectar, an island of jewels, mani, and so it's an island made of jewels, or sometimes called a jeweled island, right? In Sri Vidya tradition, this is the name of the Sri Chakra. It's called the Mani Dweep. She's a jeweled island, right? Each of the enclosures is made of a different jewel. There's a diamond enclosure, a ruby enclosure, a emerald enclosure, golden rings, golden walls and silver walls, and all these type of things, So it's like that. But usually, for the sake of simple tantric visualization, we visualize like an island made of jewels. But not just jewels, they're chintamani jewels. They're wish-fulfilling jewels. So each jewel, this is one of the things, holding one of these jewels, anything you wish for, you get, right? Chintamani jewels. Mani Dvipaya, Chintamani. So Mani Dvipaya, the jeweled island. Now it says Chintamani Grihaya Namaha. Same thing. Made of wish, not just jeweled, wish fulfilling jewels. Chintamani. Anything you desire in your mind, you get. Right? Parijataya Namaha. Parijata tree. We have one in the backyard. This is the one I'm most divine. We've built this whole thing around in the back here in order to protect this one tree. A tree that shouldn't grow here. Actually, at one time it was a little sick and was not doing well. The leaves were turning yellow. And so we called a tree doctor. I don't know what they call. Somebody who's expert at, they've saved our trees for different diseases. And he came and did all this research. He looked online. We told him the name of the tree, the Sanskrit name and Bengali name. He looked up it up. And he said, the problem is that tree doesn't grow here. That's the problem. It's like it shouldn't grow here. I mean, we can think what's it missing, and they gave a cocktail of vitamins, and it's saved. And now we know what to keep. Every 4 or 5 months, we give another cocktail of vitamins to keep the tree healthy. Right? It doesn't grow here, but it doesn't grow here. It's not that it doesn't grow in California, which it doesn't. Right? It's too cold, and the temperament and the water like that. So we're doing very good, but it doesn't grow on Earth. It said that this is literally a heavenly tree, right? In the story, there's a sweet story that Radharani wanted. It has very divine, little tiny, subtle flowers with a very fragrant smell. Usually, you think, for worldly life, you want a big, smelly, pretty flower. That's like a for the senses and romance and senses, and you want a garland full of dramatic and fragrant flowers. This is not one of those. The flowers are this big, and they're very minutely fragrant, but divinely fragrant, right? And it said that she wanted these flowers to braid into Krishna's hair, right? And he says, but this tree doesn't. And he says, well, that's okay, but this tree doesn't grow here. Where does it grow? In Indraloka, in heaven, right? And so go get it. I'm simplifying a long story. It's a Puranic story, and Puranic stories have, tell me about, there's a sage asking 100 questions about, tell me about the nature of this tree. Why did Krishna go there? What are the benefits of meditating on this story? It's a long story. I'm telling it much simpler. So Krishna went, and Indra was not about, because all the treasures of heaven have been stolen by all kinds of gods and rishis and demons and people, and and so there's not much left in heaven, in case you're wondering, right? I mean, the magical cow has been stolen. So many things have been stolen from heaven, as per the story. And so it says that Krishna had a fight with Indra, and defeated Indra, and stole the tree, and so it's no longer in heaven. It's originally a Ho'afendi tree. Now it's in the backyard of Kali Mandir, right? And they sold it down, and it has the quality that it only blooms at night. It's very unusual, and you're not supposed to pick it. Right, so late at night or in early morning, the flowers fall, and you also have to pick. In the morning we go and we slowly pick them up off the ground. Actually, you're not supposed to pick them off the ground either. They're not supposed to hit the ground, right? So usually you put out. You'll see at Bellermat they have like nets around the tree to capture them. People gather very auspicious flower. Also Hanuman, it says, there's a mantra that we chant during Ramnam. I'm not remembering the mantra right now, but it says that his favorite abode is at the root of a parijata tree. So I think that's why one of our reasons our parijata is so well. It's 10 feet from a giant Hanuman Hanuman likes to be at the root of a parijata tree. But here, this is a tree on that island of wish-fulfilling trees, a wish-fulfilling gem. There is a parijata tree, right? This is one of the trees, the auspicious, magical, mystical trees that we also worship within the heart. Parijataya Namaha, Kalpa Vrikshaya Namaha. This is the wish-fulfilling tree. Now, maybe it's a name for Parijata, or it's a different tree. It could be different trees in her divine grove of auspicious trees. So this is the wish. So in the simple meditation, wish-fulfilling, island made of wish-fulfilling jewels, wish-fulfilling tree. Underneath that tree, we meditate on Ma, or the deity sitting, Krishna standing like this. Parijata, Kalpa Vriksha. And that means, so Kalpa Vriksha means that every tree has a particular fruit it gives, right? An apple tree gives apples, right? If at season, when the season is right, it gives apples, right? But it only gives it during season, and it only gives apples, right? So that's great if you want apples at apple season, right? What if you want something different and it's not season, right? So God is compared, the Divine Mother is compared as one of her names is Kalpaviksha. She's the wish-fulfilling tree. Means anything you wish for, she can give you. Any in season, out of season. But actually, anything you wish for, that's the fruit you give. But still, it has to come at the right season. So there's Sri Ramakrishna used this, and Swami Sharananda also mentioned this, that if God's a wish-fulfilling tree, right, sitting under that tree, you'll get the fruit. Right? If you want God, whatever the fruit is, of course, people, if God's a wish, we go to God, Ma, you're the wish-fulfilling tree. These are my wishes. Your people come to Ma with their list of wishes, myself included. But the real wish, if you want the core desire that animates what we're looking for in all of our desires is God, union with God, love of God, experience, divine experience. That's the real thing. And so Sri Ramakrishna said, if you live underneath a wish-fulfilling tree, the fruit will come, right? But if you're impatient, then you shake the tree, and maybe something will fall early, right? And that's called sadhana, right? You can do intense tapasya. Tapasya you can shake, right? So there's a scene. I'm going to give a talk on each of these names, each of these things. There's a scene in the Devi Bhagavatam talking about that. So the scene, the way the Devi Gita opens is that which is Sutta? Not Bandha Sutta. Is it Bandha Sutta? I'm forgetting. But anyways, it come to me. It's just very embarrassing. I don't remember the name. But Shiva, he had a boon. One demon had a boon. Maybe Tadaka Sutta. He had a boon that he asked a boon to Lord Brahma. That of course he always asks. Everybody asks why I want to be immortal. And he says, you can't, even I'm not immortal, anything that's born, and same thing, everything that's born will die, everything that dies will be born. It's not a thing to give. It's like the son of a barren woman. It's not a thing. You can say it, but it's not a thing. Not to be immortal is not a thing for a physical being. He says, okay, then Shiva right now, Sati has committed suicide, and Shiva is deep in meditation, not the least bit interested in another Shakti, or another manifestation of Shakti. So I have a boon that I can only be killed by the legitimate son of Shiva, right? And so I figured out, since Shiva has no wife, and is not interested in a wife, and therefore has no son, definitely not a legitimate son, I'm safe, right? And so he becomes an overwhelming tyrant, as always the case, with his newfound powers. And the gods run to the Himalayas, right, to do tapasya. And a beautiful description of their tapasya. But it says, first they go to Lord Vishnu, and Vishnu said, let's go to Lord Shiva. And this is interesting. Usually this is a sectarian nature of Puranas. Very often, like in the Vishnu Puranas, they first go to Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, and they say, let's go to Lord Vishnu and pray to him, right? That's a structure. It's like, what are you asking me? I don't know, right? So first they go to Vishnu. I don't know. It's not a Vaishnava. Let's go to Shiva. But then when they go to Lord, is everything okay there? They're doing something? Okay. They go to Lord Shiva, and then Shiva goes, not like what am I going to do? Right? Don't you know there's a wish-fulfilling tree in the Divine Mother, Bhagavati, Bhuvaneshwari? She's the wish-fulfilling tree, right? If you pray to her and get her blessing, she'll fulfill all your desires, right? So, okay, right? So that's when they go to the Himalayas and start doing tapasya. And they chant mantra, they do Nyāsa. Actually, all the things are described are also in the Devi Bhagavatam, Devi Gita. They do Nyāsa, they recite hymns, they do pujas, all the different type of things they're doing. But the thing is, and because what do they want? They want to get the boon from Devi, from her, a fruit, right? But this thing about the wish-fulfilling tree only works if you're underneath it. If you see the wish-fulfilling tree and go, wow, beautiful wish-fulfilling tree, that's divine, right? But if you're underneath it, then you get your fruits of all your desires, right? But how do you get? It's not easy to be underneath the wish-fulfilling tree. It's very close to God, right? And so that's what requires sadhana. And so they do 10,000 years, so the story goes, always 10,000 years of tapasya, right? And what happens? Then they find themselves, and the Divine Mother appears in a flash of brilliant light, as an infinite pillar of light, right? And then takes on the form of a Devi, right? And says, ask your boon. And he said, we have no boon, right? We simply want to love you and see you forever, right? Because by that time, to get the boon of the Devi, they have to be underneath the tree. To get underneath the tree, they need to do sadhana to purify their mind and heart, manashuddhi. And with purified mind and heart, no other desires are there. Purity means no other desires except God, right? So the very process remove their desires. But then she says, that's okay, but you did some tapasya for some cause. Think about it. And they start thinking, that was a long time ago. Oh yeah, there was some demon. He asked for some boon. He said, well, if you want, you can be born as Parvati and get Shiva to marry you and have a child and kill Tarakasura and put it to the gods, and the gods can get their place again. But it's a very interesting thing that they forgot what they really started their sadhana for, because they got closer to the wish fulfilling tree. By the time you're underneath it, there's no other wish besides God. Kalpa vrikshaya mani vedikaye namaha. So, island of jewels. Now, vedikaye means the actual shrine, the throne, the seat. In commonly, like we call it bedi sometimes. Like we have this word, but it's in Sanskrit, in pure Sanskrit, it's the V instead of a B. In Hindi and Bengali, it's become B-ified. The B become around like. Mani vedikaye namaha. The jeweled seat. Ratna simhasanaya namaha. Again, the throne made of jewels. You can see there's all these. The lion throne made of jewels. Deve bhyanamaha. Then all muni bhyanamaha. Deve bhyanamaha. All rishis, all saints, all mystics, all rishis, munis and rishis, and all gods. Deve bhyanamaha. Right. That's the first list. Right. Then it goes. Interesting. Then in the process, now this is all Om Hrim Pitadibata Om Hrim Pita Shakti Namaha, Om Adhara Shakti Namaha, Om Pakritye Namaha, Om Kurmaya Namaha, Om Anantaya Namaha, Om Parvitye Namaha, Om Shuddha Buraye Namaha, Om Mani Dvipaya Namaha, Om Chitamani Grahaya Namaha, Om Parijataya Namaha, Om Kappa Vrikshaya Namaha, Om Mani Vedikaye Namaha, Om Ratna Simhasanaya Namaha, Om Mani Pitaya Namaha, Om Muni Bhya Namaha, Om Deve Bhya Namaha. Then the thing where you start moving in different parts of the body, creating like the outer gates in a certain sense of her altar. All right, you go Om Dharmaya Namaha. We worship Dharma, or honor Dharma, and then Jnanaya Namaha. So Dharma is righteousness, right, and duty. Jnana means knowledge, wisdom, right. Then left thigh Vairagyaya Namaha. Vairagya means renunciation and detachment, right. Aishwarya Namaha means glory, right? Splendor. So these are divine qualities. You imagine these are nice 4 main gates of the yantra, right? But these aren't the only gates, right? We have other things, other aspects of our personality, other aspects of her manifestation. Then right side, then mouth. Interesting, the mouth. Adharmaya Namaha. Adharma, unrighteousness. Right. Interesting. That's in the mouth. That's really where our dharma lives mostly in our mouth. Right. Adharmaya Namaha. Then right side, Ajnanaya Namaha. No, left side, Ajnanaya Namaha. Ignorance. Right. Navel, Avairagyaya Namaha. Not renunciation, means attachment. Right. Desire. And then right side, an Aishwaraya Namaha, opposite of glory and splendor and wealth and happiness. It's just like poverty and ugliness, right? That's interesting that these are also, and I always think of them as like the different gates of the yantra, right? The main gates we're thinking about, but one thing, her seat, the thing that contains it all is everything, not just one thing, right? If we're invoking in our heart is everything, not just the good stuff. Right, there's a mantra we use when we're installing the ghat. It's a long mantra we use only during Durga Puja and things like big pujas. It's a long mantra, but it describes that we create a pot. pot to hold all these energies. It says, both the gods and the demons are churners of the mind. That's one of the lines. This is a sign like that, right? And we create this pot to contain all these energies, means gods and demons. And in their churning, it says that which is Vishnu rises to the top, which is pure consciousness. Right? It's a very deep thing, right? So it's like the pot is everything. It's not just visualize divine tree and island of gems. It's like this is more gritty, more our actual psychological being. Then in this version, this is a short one version of it. Then we mentioned that there's the Anahata chakra has 12 petals, and the Hridaya chakra has 8 petals. So I don't remember. I used to at UCI give a class on this very point in our subtle anatomy class, but I don't remember it from memory, right? What they are, but they're imagine this 8-petal lotus, and it's spinning. And what it is this is the center of our emotional being is spinning off various aspects of our sentiment, our emotional, the thing that gives us our emotional nature, right? And so, and they're worshipped. Each of these deities are imagined worshipped in a circle around the center. Prabhaya namaha. Om Im Mayaye Namah, Om Jayaye Namah, Om Shukshmaye Namah, Om Aim Vishuddhaye Namah, Om Nandanye Namah, Om Suprabhaye Namah, Om Vijayaye Namah, and the center, Om Sarvasiddhidaye Namah. Now, these, I can tell you what they mean, what they translate, and what the Sanskrit means. That's easy, but I don't remember exactly what sentiment they match to. Prabha means that which is shining. Maya, of course, we know Maya. Jaya is victory. Shukshma means subtle. Vishuddha means purifying, supremely pure. Nandi, Nandi. Suprabhayedma is auspicious and shining. Vijaya, supreme victory. Sarvasiddhi, the giver of all perfection. Right. So this is the deity. This is the worship of the altar, the inner altar. In the Kali Puja, there's a few extra mantras. I shall, because they're cool. Actually, there's more from another. Let me see here. There's more here. I can tell you. Om Ananta. Then Om Anantaya Namaha, the infinite. Om Pam Padmaya Namaha, the lotus. Right. Om Ananda Kandaya Namaha. This is like the cluster of bliss, the blissful nature. Sanminalaya Namaha, I don't remember. Pakritimaya Pitrebhyam Namaha. The plate or the pot or the container made of Pakriti. Interesting. Vikraya Maya Kasharabhya Namaha. I don't remember. Tattvamaya Karnikaye Namaha. That which is made of all tattvas. Arkamandalaya Dwarashakalatmane Namaha. Om Sumamandalaya Surashakalatmane Namaha. Om Mam Manimandalaya Dashakalatmane Namaha. This is the 12 aspects of sun, moon, and fire. 12 aspects of the sun, 16 aspects of the moon, and 10 aspects of fire, I believe. So this is interesting. This is done. We do it also in the water in the conch. When we establish the conch, we worship Arkamandalaya Dvashkalatmanena, the 16 aspects, the different kalas of the, and these are all. I mean, you can name them all during the Sri Chakra Puja. We do them, worship separately, but this is a reference to sun, moon, and fire. Sun, moon, and fire are the 3 lights, right? That's our experience. We see by the sun, in the daytime. We see the moon at nighttime, and at nighttime we see by fire. Right? That's a simple way of saying it. And there's a verse in one of the Upanishad. Remember, he asks, "Oh, my dear disciple, my dear son, by which light do we see the world?" I'm very much paraphrasing. He says, "By the light of the sun, Father." Right? He said, "When there's no sun, what do we see the world?" "Oh, then by the light of the moon." "If there's no sun and the moon, then how do we see the world, my son?" And he goes on like that into sound, into very subtle things. And finally, the real light is by a light of awareness. Actually, we see the sun not by the sun's light. We see the sun by the light of awareness. Right? It's a way of the subtle to take it as the real thing. So that's one thing. It's a great sun, moon, and fire. But actually, yogically, sun, moon, and fire is Ida, Pingala, and Shushumna. right? The lunar current, the solar current, and the Kundalini, the fire current, the Sushumna current, right? So this is actually what that refers to, sun, moon, and fire. Then Sam Satvaya Namaha, Ram Rajase Namaha, Tam Tamase Namaha. We worship the three gunas, tamas, rajas, and sattva. Atmane, Atmane Namaha. We worship the soul, the Atman. Atmane Namaha. Antaratmane Namaha. We worship the inner soul, right? The soul of our soul, right? Because Pam Paramatmane Namaha. We worship the supreme soul. And Hrim Jnanatmane Namaha. We worship the soul of wisdom and knowledge, right? So these are also, and in the Kali Puja, there's a few more. Let me find it here. There's the ones that are different. Maybe I don't have it. Maybe I don't have it here. But actually, I'll tell you what we worship the smashan, right? The cremation ground. We worship the bhutas and in the cremation, pretas in the cremation ground. We worship the corpses. It uses the symbolism of the Kali symbolism, which when we do her Dhyan mantra, we can cover those also. But they're also worshipped separately like this. This is the Antar Pitha-Nyasa. So we'll do the Antar Pitha-Nyasa. There's a few things I'll tell you the last final thing. Called Dehamarjana. This is the consecration, purification of the Deha means body, right? But of course we don't just have one body. It's done 3 times because we have 3 bodies. We have the physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body, right? So we use the mantra, Shakti mantra, Om. Actually, we use a mantra of the deity being worshipped. So this is the Kali Puja. The main Kali mantra is Kring. So we go Om Kring Swaha, Om Kring Swaha, Om Kring Swaha. This is a common thing. Some people will just up and down. I remember Swami Bhajanananda does like this. I mean, there's different methods of doing the theatrics of it may be different, right? But basically, it's completely purifying the physical, subtle, and causal body. With, in a certain sense, washing or bathing or completely consecrating with this mantra, the mantra bath, Kring Swaha. So we do this internally to the altar within the very core of our being and our body, like that, and then we have to create the Devi's. We have to then this altar, which is now our body. Right? It is now the body has been identified with everything. It's the universe. It's the center of the universe. It's a wish-fulfilling tree. Everything is here. Everything is recognized within the body. Sun, moon, and fire. Everything is in the body. Now the body has to has to vibrate to her vibration, right? So that mantra in the Lakshmastakam Stotram Siddhi Buddhi Bhukti Mukti Mantra Murti Sada Devi. That's the one I like. Right? Your body, O Mahalakshmi, O Devi, your body is always made of mantra. Mantra Murti Sada. We talked about this in our talks on Nyāsa, on the alphabet. Matrika-Nyasa. So this is the same thing. So now that we talked in a general way. So we come, im, chum, chum, im, tarabim. We did the different letters of the alphabet, right? But now the whole thing will be done with the letters of her bij mantra. With her mantra, everything will be tuned to her vibration. Though I sometimes think of it, when Sadhu told me, imagine tambura, right? And if a tambura is tuned right, exactly, you see somebody, not only the tune, but you have to get them, it's like you play a tambura and we say, yeah, give me that, and they'll spend 20 minutes, and not only you have the pegs, but then you have these little strings that are put on, and then those are like adjusted to get the exact vibration. Because once everything is tuned, you touch it and the whole thing vibrates. Otherwise, ding, 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 To our minds, we know those are the four notes, ding, ding, but it's like, the whole thing vibrates, right? So if you tune everything correct, then the whole system, the whole astral body, subtle body, psychology, everything vibrates at the sound of to the one vibration. That one vibration of Kali here is called Kring, the Bij Mantra. Describe. I have the book here. We got 5 books. Right, so after Om Kring Swaha, Om Kring Swaha, Om Kring Swaha, then we do the Nyāsa of the Bij Mantra for Devi. And so this Nyāsa, just like we did with the alphabet, we do Kara-Nyasa on the limbs of the fingers, and Anga-Nyasa on the limbs, the parts of the body, right? But before that, we do the Vinaya called Rsyadi-Nyasa, the Nyasa of the rishis and the other, etc., right? Rsyadi, or we call it Viniyoga. There's a Viniyoga mantra. We've talked about Viniyoga mantras. The Viniyoga mantras are how mantras are applied. Viniyoga means application. If you were to get, it's not exact translation, but it's a good enough translation. It's application. And so mantras come with instruction manuals or details, right? It's like, don't throw away, when you get some weird new technology, look in the box, or maybe a little piece of paper that gives you details, a code or something like that, right? So every mantra has aspects of it. You can just say the mantra like Om Namah Shivaya, but Om Namah Shivaya, what's the details of Om Namah Shivaya? What has a Bij mantra, Om, has a Shakti, that's Hrim, that's not in the mantra. Has a Devata, we know that's Shiva. Has a Rishi, who's a Rishi of Om Namah Shivaya? I don't know. There's a pin, there's a called a Kilakam. There's all these things that are part of a mantra, and the reason it's done is also given. And so we recite that part, the Viniyoga mantra, partially so that we don't forget it. The details are handed down with the mantra. The details of the mantra are handed down with the mantra. But then we also engage them through Nyasa. We worship them. We embody them. We identify with them. Like, for instance, the Rishi who first heard the mantra, right? Every mantra was heard by a sage, and so that sage is a Rishi, the one who first revealed it, right? So we can remember it. Oh, Vishwamitra heard this mantra. Savitri heard the Gayatri mantra, right? Or Brahma heard the Gayatri mantra, like this, right? So this mantra, the Rishi is Bhairava himself, Lord Bhairava. Right? It's not just a Rishi, it's the Lord Bhairava himself, right? So we can remember him, that's good. We get, and then by doing that, we get his blessing. Oh, Bhairava, you're the one who revealed the mantra. Please, I'm about to chant this mantra. Please bless me. We remember you, right? But another thing, when you do Nyāsa of it, we do Om Bhairavaya Rishe Namaha, right? We worship Bhairava as a Rishi in the head, or Narada, whoever the Rishi of the mantra is, right? Because our consciousness needs to be the consciousness of the Rishi. We need to, it's only that consciousness. We can say a mantra, we say, we say it. Like, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. We can do mantras, and nothing happens. Or maybe something happens, not much happens, from my perspective. We've been chanting these mantras for years, right? Because we don't have the concept of a Rishi, right? You should when you have Shuddha Nam, he says, one recitation of a mantra is complete a full darshan of God, right? There's a line in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya says, there's so much power in the two-syllable Krishna that saying it one time destroys more sins than are possible to commit. Right? Yet we say Krishna, 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 Krishna. Right? And maybe there's a lot of sins. Maybe we've committed more sins than are possible to commit. I don't know. Right? Or we're not saying it right yet. I think it's more likely, right? Right? It's not the mantra's fault, and he's not lying. Right? It's not the Rishi's fault. Right? We're not him. He says that it happens. We say it, and it doesn't yet happen. Right? So we're invoking the consciousness of the Rishi in our consciousness. Then there's a chanda, a meter, right? And we invoke the meter, like Gayatri Chanda Se Namaha, Vishnik Chanda Se Namaha, like this, right? In the mouth, right? That's the Nyasa that we embody it. Why in the mouth? We want the meter to, we want to chant pure meter. We want the way the meter came originally. We want to pronounce the same meter, right? Then the deity, the devata, in the heart. Here it's Sima Dakshina Kalikaye Devataye Namaha. Right? In the heart we worship we want the deity in the heart, right? Then Hring Bijam Hung. So this is a mantra. Om Kring Asya Mantrasya. For the mantra Kring, This is the details. Bhairava Rishi. Bhairava is the Rishi. Ushnik Chandaha. Ushnik is a particular meter, is the meter. Srimad Dakshina Kalikaye Devata. The deity is Srimad Dakshina Kali. Hrim Bijam. The seed, the bija is Hrim. Hum Shaktihi. The power, the Shakti is Hum. Krim Kilakam. This is the pin. That's a very mysterious thing. The thing that holds it all together. The stake is Krim. Purushartha Chatustaya Siddhaye Viniyogaha. And what's its application? Why are we chanting it? To attain the 4 goals of human life. Purushartha Chatustaya. This is Dharma, Kama, Artha, Moksha. Right? This is these mantras. It gives these 4. This is why it's done. And then with the Nyāsa. Om Bharavaya Rishaye Namaha. We worship or invoke or embody, place. Bhairava is the Rishi. Ushnik Chandase Namaha. The meter, Ushnik. Sri Dakshina Kalikaye Devataye Namaha. We worship Dakshina Kali in the heart. And then some books, this is for technical things, people watching online may have a different way of doing it. The Shakti, the Bija, Shakti, and Kilakam, there's some variations, right? Like I think in the Ramakrishna book, it most likely, if I remember properly, it says in the navel, Hrim Bijaya Namaha, right? At the base of the body, or sometime at the feet, it's also given as representing the base, or sometime on the floor in front of you, rather than touching lower body extremities and making yourself impure. Om Hum Shakti Namaha, and then the whole body, Om Krim Kilakaya Namaha. Now I've looked at that, and I think I know why it's been changed. Right? I look at older versions of it, so I've adjusted it to an older version of it, older form, and so we don't for Krim Bijaya Namaha, Bija. We do actually, bija is not at the navel, but kind of at the genital area. Sometimes it's not to do in the front, sometimes it's done kind of like at the base of the spine, something like that. But bijaya namaha, right? Hum Shaktihi, the Shakti is at the base of the spine, that's where Shakti is, the Kundalini. And Kilakam is the navel. Because the Kilakam is the navel. Adi Keshav Das has done a lot of research on this Kilakam. It's a very mysterious thing. Right, it's a remnant of a lost. The details have been lost at the time. Right, nobody really knows. We all have ideas what it means, and I've given classes on it what I think it means. Right, and they're educated class. I'm not just making it up. Right, but you go farther enough back, even that's probably not exactly right. I usually think of it like the way I usually think of it to my mind is the Shakti of a month. Like imagine like a what is it when you pull a pin and throw it? A grenade. Right, there's Shakti inherent in the grenade, but the pin holds it together. Until you pull out the pin, then the Shakti is not released. Right, it's not living. It's potentially there. Right, so the pin, the Kilakam, the pin or the key, turns it on or unleashes it and makes it potent. And so sometimes what happens, we get a mantra or we chant the mantra, right, and not much happens. And in Tantra, this is more not in devotional school, but in Tantra. Mantra, the Shakti the mantra Chaitanya, the mantra Shakti, the consciousness mantra has to be awakened, or the pin has to be opened, right? And so what happens, we do, it's called Puruscharana, where you take a mantra, let's say like Om Namah Shivaya, it's a 5-lettered or 6-lettered mantra, right? And so you do 100,000 per syllable. So you take a vow, in 40 days I shall do 600,000 Om Namah Shivayas, right? And very strict rules. You have to do it from certain many times. So you can't one seat, one type of cloth. You have to be fasting. You have to be strict celibate, a strict vegetarian. You have to not speak in a foreign language. There's all these rules. You have to do puja every day. You have to bathe 3 times a day. And you do it. And it's the purpose of it. You're purifying the mantra so that the mantra Chaitanya can open. The mantra Shakti can pop. Jaima Jaima. So the I got 6 minutes. Mantra Chaitanya can pop. Or another thing that can happen is that by the guru can give it awake. Right? By the guru's awaken the mantra. And he's given, like, it's like one thing I can teach you, okay, here's a grenade, and this is the instruction of what you have to do to get to open to arm it. Right? Or I can pull a pin and hand you the grenade. It says, have fun. Careful, right? You know, that's the guru comes and gives a living mantra. Or sometime it's like a grenade, pin or not pin, you throw it in the fire, it's going to explode, right? Sometimes the mind of the devotee, of the sadhak, is ready. So this is an example when Sri Ramakrishna became a Kali priest. He was initiated by in his family tradition. He had the Gayatri Mantra when he was 8-9 years old, right? And we don't know the full details of his childhood. He was doing puja in his home, so he had his family traditional mantras. There's some research has been done on who initiated in the family, but those things haven't been really remembered so much. But when he got the job as Kali priest, right? You need a Shakti mantra. You can't do Kali Puja without a Shakti mantra, right? And who could be the guru? Of course, Sri Ramakrishna himself is the guru of the age, but he had different gurus. We think of Totapuri was his guru, and the Bhairavi Brahmani was his guru, Tantric guru, right? And then Govinda was his Sufi guru. He had his different gurus like that, right? But none of these, we actually do know the name. There was a well-known, appropriate senior pujari, and who was expert in tantra and like that. He was the one who'd go to somebody to learn a Kali mantra to do puja. So he had to do it. So they went. It was done in the inner shrine, right? And so there's the mantra. We can only guess. We probably know the mantra, right? It's part of the Dakshineshwar tradition, right? As it was chanted, before he even finished the first syllable, Sri Ramakrishna screams and jumps up. His hair stands on end. He screams and he jumps onto the Kali and embraces Ma, starts crying. And the guru freaked out. Because it's not, and he and he runs off because he freaked out and left. So the story goes, if I remember the story properly, right? It's like the mantra. He was it wasn't even finished before the power of the mantra was fully manifested. That picture is shown there, above Anthony's head, right? Something like that, it's like that when he embraced it, it was like the fruit of the power of the mantra. It wasn't maybe the mantra. He didn't do Purusharana of the mantra, and maybe the guru. It wasn't as a great. Of course, it was a great guru to be the person to initiate Sri Ramakrishna and Kali mantra is not a small thing, right? Right. But the disciple was ready, right? Sometimes it's like dry grass. Dry grass, one spark, it goes. Wet grass, you can, as I say, you waste a whole box of matches throwing it into wet grass, right? Nothing happens. Or wet matches, top of that. You can have wet matches or a wet grass, right? So this is the kilakam. So that's the way I've understood the kilakam. But it's, Adi has been talking about and sending me some things about, it's like a stake of a tent. And maybe to ancient ritual of the creating of the yajna stall during Vedic times, of establishing there'd be a central pole to hold the whole thing up, and a central rope and a central pin. And in Tibetan Buddhism, they have that 3-sided dagger. You've seen sometimes they use it. That's a reference to that. That's the kilakam. It comes into Buddhism from this Vedic ritual thing. It was used to the dagger or the pin was used to measure and draw it out, and then was also used to kind of hold them, and then it was cut and the whole thing collapsed and burnt. There's references to that. So it could be some Vedic references that got absorbed into the tantras, perhaps, and then even into Tibetan Buddhism like that. But it's usually, that's why I think it's in the navel, because that's the center, right? That's where our navel is, right? And even there's some, because everybody wants to, any new mantra, any puja you have to create, it has to have a Vinyoga mantra, it has to have a bija, and you look at it, that doesn't make sense. Why is it that kilakam? But here it actually does make sense, because also in the order here it's Hrim Bijam Hum Shri Krim Kilakam, right? It also, in the cluster of mantras, Hrim, Hum, Krim, in certain Shakti mantras, in the Bij mantras, right? That's not the order. The order in the mantra would be Hrim, Krim, Hum. And the center is Krim, right? Which here is the Kilakam. It's a center mantra, often. And sometimes in a larger form, the Kilakam will be the center, in the center of the actual mantra will be the Kilakam. Right? It's very interesting. I mean, it is very mysterious. It's actually one of the most mysterious things. And I can't wait for Adi to send us more, because it's a very fascinating topic. And I have 1 minute to finish it. So then the final thing, I want to finish this section. And then just like the Kara-Nyasa and Anga-Nyasa, but how it's done with that same Bij mantra Krim, connected to the vowels. Because the Shakti of a mantra, in Shakta Tantra, The vowels are Shakti, are Devi, and the consonants are Shiva, right? And Shiva without Shakti is Shava, right? You cannot pronounce a consonant without the vowel, right? So even in language, Shiva without energy it's nothing, right? So to have a ka, in Sanskrit you do like that. You can have ka, ke, ki, ku, like that, but you have to assume. You always assume the inherent ka, ga, ga, na, cha. Because without it you can't pronounce it. It's not pronounceable, right? We don't. It's kind of weird that in English we don't teach languages. In Spanish, in traditional Spanish, you taught it. My mom said, yeah, we learned the vowels first and then the rest of the consonants. That's how in Spanish, how she learned at school. It makes no sense. How can you pronounce it? I mean, she told me, how can you pronounce anything without learning the vowels? It's a better way of studying. That's not how we learned it, though, right? But so we take the kring sound and then attach it to its vowel forms: kram, kreem, krum, kraim, kram, kra. Im, aim, aum, ah. These are the traditional Sanskrit vowels, right? So with hrim, it could be hram, hrim, hrum, hraim, hraum, hra. Or, kleem, klaum, kleem. Every month it can be done, every bij month it can be done this way. So then we take the vowels, the forms of the Shakti, then we put them on the fingers that we talked before. I won't go too much into this. Om kram angusta bhyam namaha. In the thumbs we worship kram. Kreem taradani bhyam saha. Om krum madma bhyam vashat. Om kraimanamika bhyam hum. Om kram kanishta bhyam vasharam kra. Kara tara kara. Prishta brahmastra on both sides of the palm. Straya pat. Then Anga-Nyasa, the limbs. Om kram hridaya namah. In the heart kram. Kreem shirase swaha. Top of the head kreem. Krum shikaye vashat. In the tuft of hair, where the tuft of hair should be. Shikaye krum vashat. Om kraim kavachayhum. The shoulders, or now here it means kavacha means shield, right? Protection. Kraim kavachayhum. Om kraum netratrayaya vashat. The three eyes. Kra. With Shiva and Kali, it's an equivalent in it for like Krishna Puja or Ram Puja. It's just it's in his two eyes. You do this instead of this, because but here it's netraya vashat. Om kra astraya pat, and kra as a weapon, astraya, and then you do pat, and then we talked about this before. Om ittik digband. Om burvaswa ittik digbandanaha. Burvaswaha means the three levels, and you go in digbandana means the 10 directions. So you're sealing every direction, and from the bottom up, right? The three bodies, or from the three realms, right? Digbandanaha. So that is the Kara-Nyasa, Anga-Nyasa, and then the final Mantra-Samputita, which we also did when we were doing the talk on purification of the alphabet, where we Samputita, we fenced every syllable, or every you fence every syllable with kring, or you fence kring with the syllables. There's a way of purifying the alphabet, or purifying the sound. So here the mantra is fenced with om. Like for instance, like for example, kring sima dakshina kalikaye devye namaha. So it'd be om kring sima dakshina kalikaye devye namaha om. Om. So you've om beginning, mantra, om at the end. Om beginning. And we won't go, because we talked about what that in the previous talk on what makes mantras impure and how to purify. This is one of the tantric ritual ways to purify the impurity. Mantra dosha, they say, the imperfections of the mantra that are caused by mispronunciation, not being initiated properly. There's impurity due to our death in the family, our own birth and death, and there's all kinds of reasons that are given. This is called prana shakti, the infusing a prana into the mantra to purify it. And fencing, when you fence something, you make it more powerful. Like you squeeze it. If you take something, it's like, imagine squeezing a balloon. It's like the way to get, like, so fencing a mantra has a quality of doing something to the thing that if you take two things and do this, the thing is going to do something, right? So it's kind of that idea. And so there's different ways to do it. We do it with Yoni Mudra, right? At Om Kring Sima Dakshina Kalikaye Devye Namaha Om Kring Sima Dakshina Kalikaye Devye Namaha Om, right? Because we're imagining that the source of the mantra is coming from the womb of the universe itself, right? And our tongue is speaking at that. It has a tantric symbolism also, although it's not the primary focus. It's mostly to purify the mantra from its very source. And then Just like we did Om Kring Swaha, the three bodies, we do it again. Om Am Hung Pat Swaha, Om Am Hung Pat Swaha, Om Am Hung Pat, Vyapaka-Nyasa, total concentration with these beautiful mantras. So we'll end there, a few minutes late, but it's good because then we're set up exactly to Kali Dhyan. Actually, the next week, God willing, the long Dhyan mantra of Goddess Dakshina Kali, which is really, 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 really cool. Very wonderful. This is our image is made after the images of Kali are made after this. Did it get recorded? Good. I can't redo that. I can't do that again. Jai Ma, Jai.